Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. So, Dragon Slayer Harry issues out a statement today on his victory against MGN. Now, if you haven't seen the previous video I did, I went into full detail around the outcome of this court case and why it's being portrayed in a way that's not so truthful. But for our purposes here, this video today will go through and dissect the hypocrisy in Harry's statement on this landmark victory. Here we go. Today is a great day for truth as well as accountability. I just wish Harry and Meghan would remove the word truth from their vocabulary because they are anything but truthful. Anyhow, the court has ruled that unlawful and criminal activities were carried out at all three Mirror Group newspaper titles: the Mirror, the Sunday Mirror, and the People, on a habitual and widespread basis for over more than a decade. I'd like to thank my legal team for so successfully dismantling the sworn testimony of Mirror Group's senior executives, legal department, and journalists who at least turned up to court, unlike their colleagues who were perhaps too afraid to do so. Telling you, what a jerk, man. Seriously. This case is not just about hacking. It is about a systemic practice of unlawful and appalling behavior, followed by cover ups and destruction of evidence, the shocking scale of which can only be revealed through these proceedings. Ew, he's so arrogant. Like, pointing his finger and chastising and shaming people that didn't want to come forward. Well, maybe because there was nothing to come forward with. Like it's this holier than thou attitude that I just can't stand. The court has found that Mirror Group's principal board directors, their legal department, senior executives, and editors, such as Piers Morgan, clearly knew about or were involved in these illegal activities. Between them, they even went as far as lying under oath to Parliament during the Levinson inquiry, to the stock exchange, and to us all ever since. The journey to justice can be a slow and painful one, and since bringing my claim almost 5 years ago, defamatory stories and intimidating tactics have been deployed against me and at my family's expense. Here we go again. This is the delusion and paranoia talking. And so, as I too have learned through this process, patience is in fact a virtue, especially in the face of vendetta journalism. I hope that the court's findings will serve as a warning to all media organizations who have employed these practices and then similarly lied about them. Oh, so is that a threat, Harry? Are you warning the media saying if you tell stories that I don't like, I'm going to come after you? Honestly, like this guy, the audacity to like say that. Like, who is the one that has been paying these journalists to write stories about your family and attack them? Mirror Group's actions were so calculated and misleading that their pattern of destroying evidence and concealing their unlawful behavior continued into the litigation itself, and as the judge has ruled, even to this day. I'm happy to have won the case, especially given that this trial only looked at a quarter of my entire claim. So, are you going to just ignore that the judge threw out 15 of the articles that you pushed forward, as well as in the 11th hour? Your lawyer ended up dumping a trove of information in the last stretch in his closing statement, not giving MGN the chance of a reply. Yeah, let's not forget that. And for those that want to know more about that, please see my previous video that I did going through this nonsense. Even on just that, it is clear Mirror Group's persistent attempts to suggest that my claim was, to quote their counsel, fantastical in the realm of total speculation, and there was simply no evidence at all to suggest I was hacked. Zilch, zero, nil, nada, niente, absolutely nothing. I mean, come on, guys. Like, was that really necessary? This shows the maturity level of this guy. All of that was total nonsense and was used maliciously to attack my character and credibility. Yeah, but you also lied. you also have been lying. You also have been working with the media in the same capacity and weaponized it. How about that? However, as Mirror Group intended, those hollow sound bites were blasted across the front pages and across online platforms and into the next day's morning television shows. And your point? The court case has in fact confirmed that all four claimants were subjected to voicemail interception and unlawful information gathering. But no one would have believed that that was the case given how this trial was covered in the UK. So essentially, he's accusing the British media for lying and portraying his testimony and the things that he was saying as not an accurate portrayal. So again, we go back to him not thinking that people should have an opinion on what they report. This is so dangerous, folks. And this is why I said in my previous video that, this judge should have thrown this out. You give this guy an inch and he takes a mile and he will run with it and light it on fire, which is exactly what's happening here. My commitment to seeing this case through is based on my belief in our need and collective right to a free and honest press, and one which is properly accountable when necessary. That is what we need in Britain and across the globe. So, totalitarian Harry is essentially saying that, yes, we do need to put regulation into place. We do need to suppress and silence people's opinions. Because remember, this case was about illegal information gathering. It was not about illegal, wrongful, false, fake news reporting about Harry. Even in the document, in the video, I had pointed out that the judge stated that Harry's oppression and victimhood was not solely MGN's fault. This was based off of the whole British media, and this is because of the violation of privacy and going into his affairs. But as far as truthful reporting, that doesn't apply to what this case was about. This applies to the mere illegal activity. So for him to virtue signal and go on this mission, you see it right here, folks. This is a dictator in the making. Anything else is poisoning the well for a profession we all depend on. The acts listed in this judgment are prime examples of what happens when the power of the press is abused. Well, Harry, you should know about that since you abuse it every day and abuse the public with your propaganda. I respectfully call upon the authorities, the financial regulator, the stock market, who were deliberately deceived by Mirror Group, and indeed the Metropolitan Police and prosecuting authorities to do their duty for the British public and to investigate bringing charges against the company and those who have broken the law. Today's ruling is vindicating and affirming. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Seriously. I mean, they apologized to him. They gave him a couple coins. What more do you want? It almost sounds like he's going to continue persecution of these people till the end of time to make sure that these people never see the light of day again. And, it's very spiteful, it's very vindictive, vengeful, and hateful. Like, he is such a dangerous twat, for real. And finally, Super Harry says, I've been told that slaying dragons will get you burned. But in light of today's victory and the importance of doing what is needed for a free and honest press, it is a worthwhile price to pay. The mission continues. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, how do you feel about that? For me, I felt extremely annoyed because the whole thing was one big gaslighting exercise. Also, the hypocrisy seen throughout the entire statement is astounding, especially since he thinks nobody is going to go and read that judgment statement that was put out by the justice. I'm guessing no, because it's over 300 pages, and to sift through all of it and make sense of it is kind of a bit intense, which is what I did in the previous video. So go watch that if you want to know more. But throughout it, the justice really makes it clear that it's not just MGN that is responsible for his feeling of being oppressed and hounded by the media. Part of this, too, also relies on other media outlets, some of it to which he participates in it. And that's where I don't understand why more people are not pushing back, especially the media, too. Like the media is not doing their job in reflecting this accurately and truthfully. And this is what makes me angry about him calling for an honest press when the press themselves that are reporting for Harry are not being honest, even reporting this story and making Harry look like some kind of hero, which is false. All of this is completely false. Like, it blows my mind how he can sit there with a straight face and pretend that he's doing good when he's lying through his teeth. And this is where I'm trying to figure out, what do we do? Here in the United States, this guy is actively trying to take our rights away. You see him clearly putting his foot down, saying, you know what? This is a green light for me to continue to keep doing what I have been doing because I got this win. And, people see it as me doing justice here in what I'm being convicted in trying to do, which is shut down freedom of press. And I think this is fundamentally a dangerous, dangerous person who is being allowed on a global stage to go ahead and dictate what should happen. I'm going to close out my video leaving you with what Piers Morgan had to say about this court judgment that came down today. I think of all people that could fight this guy, it would be him. And I sure hope that maybe Piers would take some type of legal action because the attacks on him have been from the very beginning. Let's not forget that Piers was fired from his first job because he expressed his opinion. I mean, sadly, he's not here in the United States. Otherwise, I think that would be a violation of our First Amendment rights. But with what has been happening and Harry not being stopped by anyone, I think at some point, someone from the media needs to push back on him and give him a taste of his own medicine. Just my opinion. But hear what Piers had to say about this.
Cases, including Prince Harry's claim against Mirror Group newspapers, where I was an editor until 2004. The judgment finds there is just one article relating to the Prince, published in the Daily Mirror during my entire 9-year tenure as editor, that he thinks may have involved some unlawful information gathering. To be clear, I had then, and still have, zero knowledge of how that particular story was gathered. All his other claims against the Daily Mirror, under my editorship, were rejected. With regard to the judge's other references to me in his judgment, I also want to reiterate, as I've consistently said for many years now, I've never hacked a phone or told anybody else to hack a phone. And nobody has produced any actual evidence to prove that I did. I wasn't called as a witness, and it's important for people to know this, by either side in the case, nor was I asked to provide any statement. I would have very happily agreed to do either or both of those things had I been asked. Nor did I have a single conversation with any of the Mirror Group lawyers throughout the entire legal process. So, I wasn't able to respond to the many false allegations that were spewed about me in court by old foes of mine with an axe to grind, most of which, inexplicably, were not even challenged in my absence by the Mirror Group counsel. But I note the judge appears to have believed the evidence of Omid Scobie, who lied about me in his new book, and he lied about me in court, and the whole world now knows him to be a deluded fantasist. And he believed the evidence of Alistair Campbell, another proven liar who spun this country into an illegal war. Finally, I want to say this. Prince Harry's outrage at media intrusion into the private lives of the royal family is only matched by his own ruthless, greedy and hypocritical enthusiasm for doing it himself. He talked today about the appalling behaviour of the press. But this is a guy who's repeatedly trashed his family in public for hundreds of millions of dollars, even as two of its most senior and respected members were dying, his grandparents. It's hard to imagine, frankly, more appalling behaviour than that. As for him saying this is a good day for truth, the Duke has been repeatedly exposed in recent years as someone who wouldn't know the truth if it slapped him around his California tanned face.
It was such a fraud.